The most realistic
Last
game
year,
ever. Here we
this
go.
video took the gaming world by storm. What you're watching now is not real footage, it's a game designed to look like a body cam. The video was released by its developer, Alexandre Spindler, and instantly it went viral. And I think it's pretty obvious why. This game at a glance looks almost completely real, but it also appears like it might just be some clever engine trickery that would never really function as a video
Bro,
game.
how in the fuck is that 4K, bro? 2160. Bro, this is
Or at least that's
480p.
what we thought until Alexandre and his indie team revealed a new
There we
trailer
go.
for Unrecord.
Yeah, bro, that's
They're
real
now
though.
making a story-driven Unreal Engine 5 single-player FPS where
Insane.
you play as a tactical police officer trying to solve a complex case told from the perspective of your body cam. The gameplay will extend beyond just shooting bad guys to a multi-choice dialogue system and a diverse set of characters. Now, obviously, the interest in this game stems from its presentation. It's doing a ton of interesting things to help convince your brain that what you're watching isn't a game, including techniques like face blurring on characters. And today, I want to take a deeper look at some of these things and try to break down what makes Unrecord so realistic and also how it's gonna play. Some of the tricks appear obvious to me, while others are much more subtle. Now, one of the first things that stood out to me as just being exceptional is the animation. All of the weapon manipulation animations, hand gestures, and third-person character animations look extremely real. And the crazy thing is, an animator working on Unrecord, Milton Hort, said that the weapon and hand animations are actually hand-keyed as opposed to being motion captured.
Hand keyed. Yeah, see, that's interesting. So, there you go. Yeah, the motion capture used for the game, the movement too damn real. I believe the character animations make use of it. The weapon and animations are hand keyed. See, that is so impressive. If it's hand keyed, it means like obviously they've coded it themselves and stuff like that. Like motion capped obviously means there's someone in a studio doing it, and you know it plays through to the game. If it's not motion captured and it's just done through like them actually making it themselves through a software, that is fucking incredible to make it look the way that it looks.
As opposed to being motion captured. Building these animations from the ground up is no simple task. And looking at the rest of Milton's demo reels, it's clear that he has a talent for this specific type of look. His Mark 18 Glock demo reel looks like it was setting the groundwork for more realistic weapon animations. There's an incredible timing to each action, some shakiness to the movement, and you can even see the momentum of the weapon having an effect on the actual stability. Now, this style may not be desirable in your typical multiplayer shooter, as it could be distracting or make it harder to actually scale the animation speed and likely require a lot more work per weapon to implement.
See, that's cool. The way he done that then with obviously like the AR, and then he pulled out the secondary, and like you're still holding the AR, but you'd have the pistol as well, would you? It's something that Modern Warfare 2 done this year or last year. And I think it is a cool idea, but the thing is, like he just said, then it can like kind of knock a player off in his confidence during the game. Like if you're just there and you pull out your pistol but your AR still there blocking your sight, it can have an effect on the way the player plays. So it can be different, but in a single player game I think it'll be completely different compared to the way it plays out in a single player slash multiplayer game. Yeah, it can be different.
Just looking at the latest Call of Duty game, videos of the reloads have impressed viewers to the tune of billions of views. And the COD animations are extremely impressive, but Call of Duty is a game where gunplay has to take precedent over the presentation in many aspects. So while the animations from Modern Warfare 2 do look realistic sort of outside of combat when just watching them, the actual gameplay and stuff tends to break the immersion. Animations get cut off before they finish, weapon models are deliberately poised to hide small details that would be a pain to animate, plus the quickness, accuracy, and speed of it all makes it seem a little less human. Just look at what happens to the reload animation when you start sprinting in Modern Warfare 2. It gets cut off and transitions quickly to the character model sprinting. Now look at Unrecord when the character goes from walking to sprinting. There's very little cheating happening with the animations, especially when he stops sprinting and regrips the pistol. And when looking at Unrecord, it appears that they're...
I really like that as well. Do you know when he's like speaking on the comms and he kind of like masks himself to like, you know, try and cup it so like they hear him better. That is really, really good.
And when looking at Unrecord,
you see that shit there
with the animations, especially when he stops sprinting and regrips the pistol. And
that,
when looking at
shot fire
Unrecord,
shot,
it
that
appears
is
that
so
they're putting
cool.
the presentation above all else. It's hard to say how the gameplay might be affected by some of these weapon animations, but it's certainly...
See, I don't think that it's one of them cases where the gameplay will be affected by the weapon animations and the way they reload or the way you run with a certain weapon and stuff like that. I think that's how gameplay should be built. The gameplay should be built around the way them animations work. Like, if your animation, you know, you're shooting at someone and the way you reload can change the way you start running after someone or like taking cover so quick or anything like that, I think that should be like, your gameplay should be based around that, not your gameplay, or the reload animation should be based around the way you play. I think it's something that people need to get used to. I don't think it's anything that the game developers need to look at, because I think the way it looks, because it's so realistic, it's slow moving, and like obviously when you're looking around, it's the way like you would in real life. I'm trying to do the animations now to try and prove a point that makes sense, but like, it's different, you know what I mean? It's so different, and I think it's something that the player would need to get used to, rather than what they shouldn't have to change it to make it like faster gameplay. If this is the way they want their game to work, then yeah.
Impressive to look at. Often when VFX artists talk about what makes CGI convincing, they bring up those small
Right, yeah, I didn't expect that. Bro, we're just in a bathroom looking at this like hyper realistic fucking game.
Talk about what makes CGI convincing.
Bro, I don't know why, man. That's so funny. Bro just popped out of nowhere.
They bring up those small imperfections that you'll only notice subconsciously if they're absent. The pores on your skin stretching when you smile, muzzle flashes being a light source instead of overlaid in post, adding imperfections in the compositing process like smoke or camera shake, and all these things when combined together create convincing visual effects, and it's very clear that the devs making Unrecord know what they're doing.
It is so impressive nowadays though, in like fucking film creation, and like you could tell with this, with like game development and stuff like that, it is so crazy to see how far we've come.
To me, one of the more obvious examples of the imperfections being added to the animation is just how much the
look at that. See when he like moves towards a surface that's in front of him, the way like the gun goes up, obviously because if he's doing that, the gun and the arm would like clip through, but like instead he walks towards it and the gun automatically, like, that is so good.
More obvious examples of the imperfections being added to the animation is just how much
going
the
up there.
secondary
That's
movement
so good.
the character arms make as they move. The gun isn't just locked into the center of the screen. It wobbles around like it would if you were to...
I do love this. Like the thing is, it feels like I would get motion sick. Like, imagine this game in VR, man. My head would be on the ground. It'll be off my shoulders. I wouldn't know how to cope with it. But the thing is, like, with this, if you're moving around with your mouse and like you're like, you know, it's flying all over the place, you just turn your sensitivity down and you make it feel right, because like that moving around, it's so hyper realistic. You're playing a game, you're moving the mouse around, and like your character, like his arms are moving, like it's swaying, so like it doesn't just move the camera to where like your whole body moves, you know, it's moving the head, so like it doesn't always move with what you're doing. I don't know how I'm trying to represent it on screen in like a fucking dead person. I know what I'm on about, man. I just
move in real life. This is something that a lot of modern FPS games do, but they only go so far, because in a multiplayer FPS, your gun model has to represent where it's being aimed as much as possible.
Okay, bro. Sorry, like I'm done with this now. LevelCapGaming, thank you very much. That's my guy right there. That's some good shit. Actually, you know what? I'm actually gonna subscribe. It looks like they got some good shit going on. Jedi Survivor. I didn't even know. Is that out today? I don't know.